Benjamin Vinas, the Rabino Benjamin Vinas.
All right, so you're like the brother of Manny Vinas.
There you go.
All right, have we met before?
No, you just wrote to me about 3 weeks ago.
Okay, all right. Because I thought we met before. I mean, I've
Yeah,
spoken to your brother maybe
may
15 years ago. I tried
we
to buy
may
a
have
paper
met.
tour from him.
We may have met when you were in NNB about I don't know, a number of years ago.
Okay, all right. There's a small world down here, especially among Hispanics. Even though I'm not Cuban, but I'm Colombian.
You're
So
Colombian. I know you're Colombian. I know.
yeah, yeah. So, but yeah, I mean, I I spoke to your brother. Maybe it was 18 years ago. I was trying to buy a Sefer Torah,
Mhm.
and yeah, I mean, I know his story, and we both know Moshe Otero and the whole Cuban crowd down here.
Mhm.
And yeah, I mean, I would love to get a debate with your brother.
A debate.
Oh yeah, yeah. No, I mean, not because I dislike the guy, but I
No,
know that he's into
I'm
Kabbalah.
just I'm just wondering what could be debatable.
Kabbalah.
Oh, Kabbalah.
Oh,
Good.
yeah, so yeah, you'd get a good. As a matter of fact, if you want, at one point, let me know, and I'll do that for you.
Yeah, please do it, do it, do
Right
it.
now, I mean, Kabbalah's reality.
The only reason I just came in because he came up on my feed, but the truth is, and I just wanted to say hello to Asher. But the truth is that I can't really stay for a long debate. I have to be in a couple of other lives, but sure, whenever you want, because I'm about as contrary to Kabbalah as you can get.
Yeah, but your brother isn't, and I've
No,
had
so my
people
brother,
here.
so my brother, no. My brother teaches Kabbalah.
Uh-huh.
He teaches the ideology of a plain original thought Kabbalah without it being Lurian, and teaches the Lurian without agreeing with the Lurian, which is
Oh, that's
totally
interesting. That's
two
interesting.
different arguments.
So another reason I would like to dialogue with him is because if I've heard his students say that he said negative things about me. So then
You?
yes, about like it may not be true. I mean, there's a guy named like something hater, like he's from Chile or something. And then he was the one who inquired with his rabbi, which is your brother, and he said like he said that he said negative things about me. If that's not the case, then it's
No,
fine.
no. Again. So my brother has been doing this for, I'd say, just slightly over 3 decades,
Mhm.
which means you were basically in short pants still, as I was
Oh, I
when.
mean, I'm pretty okay. Like I started teaching Torah 20 years ago, like, and that's when
That's
I
what I'm saying.
met your brother.
You started. So he's got at least a decade and some number of years on you. So the truth is that you don't build a quote unquote mission. You don't build a name of working with Torah by talking about other people. So I'm not sure about that. What I am very sure of is that there is a no sé cómo decirlo, lo voy a decir en español. Es como hay una idea permisiva amongst the people that are looking for Judaism,
Mhm.
where they cannibalize each other and they cannibalize their own teachers because they're looking to be accepted no matter what. Whoever accepts them first, whoever gives them the most credit, is the people that they're going to follow.
Mhm.
And unfortunately, that's true. That's just the way the system was created for them. Because since all converts have to jump over hurdles and loops and all sorts of jumps and whatnot in order to be converted, basically whoever smiles at them the most, even if he beats them with a whip, is the person that they're going to like the most.
Mm.
You understand? And we know that to be true. The no
No,
hay peor caníbal que el converso.
I for sure they're holier than the Pope from a negative perspective. Okay, no problem, no problem. So like if that's the case, then I would love to have a dialogue with him. Like just so we can share ideas. I think most people know what I teach. I'm not big on Kabbalah, but I'm big on the Rambam, and I'm sure your brother's big on the Rambam as well. And I would like to work together. I mean, I'm always extending the olive branch, but like if
Let me extend to you a couple of thoughts. Of course, I'm very big, and he's very big on the Rambam. There's no greater than the Rambam. From Moshe to Moshe, there's nobody like Moshe, right? So we know that, right? So from Moshe to Moshe, there's nobody like Moshe, right? Rambam was probably the epitome of the concept of halakha. Now, I'm going to make a statement that I know is going to become controversial, and the people are going to freak out. And I'll leave you to it because I'm going to
Well,
express
not my
myself.
audience. My audience is kind of used to the shock and awe. But go ahead.
As soon as I say it, I'm going to split. So I got to just tell you, I got to warn you. But anyways, is that the Shulchan Aruch is not definitive, and neither are any of the other quote-unquote definitive books of halacha, including the Mishneh Torah, right? So how do we know that? Because there is a whole bunch of disparities between what the Jewish people kept as a custom according to halacha, which variates from the Shulchan Aruch. Inclusive, that's why we have a mapa that basically had to say, no, stop a second. The Ashkenazi communities do such and such a thing, which is different.
Yeah, no, we say that here all the time, by the way. We say it all the time. But I was talking to my friend Renegade right here, and I was telling him that Mishneh Torah is the only complete codification of Jewish law. I mean, Shulchan Aruch is not a codification, it's a compilation, because it goes off the Rif, the Rosh, and the Rambam. But the Rambam is the only person to ever codify all of halakha. And I told him that
without being overly obsessive with his own minhag and his own nusach.
Right, or Kabbalah, by the way, which didn't exist at the time. You know, at least, yeah.
Obviously, meaning there was a very slight version of Kabbalah, but it wasn't anything.
You know,
it wasn't anything Zohar. It wasn't anything Zohar. It wasn't anything Zohar related, right? Right. So as we go forward, I just wanted to say the last little comment. So if I always ask this question, and this is one of my first questions that I ask at people who are quote unquote learned about halachot, I always ask this question. We are told strictly, directly in Shulchan Aruch that a person that when we finish the fast, Tzom Ta'anit of Tisha B'Av, that we're not allowed to break the meal, but we're not allowed to break the fast with meat meal, and that we have to wait until the 10th of Av after midday in order to do so.
Right. The Rambam
is that definitive?
No, but the Rambam doesn't mention it.
Besides him not mentioning it, which doesn't mean that an omission doesn't mean that he agrees or disagrees. The point is that the Shulchan Aruch mentions it, but we have an actual custom that predates and exists until today, that predates the Shulchan Aruch, which is by the communities that live in the Baltic regions, like those Jews of Serbia, that they actually break the fast on a meat dish.
Right. So that's not the way I learned it. You know, but I agree with you that there's things that I mean, Shulchan Aruch brings down that the Mishnah Torah doesn't bring down. 9 out of 10 times, if it doesn't appear in Mishnah Torah, that means it's not in the Mishnah, or it's not in the Gemara. So minhagim that don't appear by Chazal, and by Chazal I mean Tanayim, are essentially disposable.
Well, that's true even of the Shulchan Aruch. Meaning, for example, the way to learn halacha is, for example, it says you can't follow the holidays of the Gentile nations, right? But the Shulchan Aruch gives you a reason why. It says because all of those nations follow religious dates as their patriotic dates, right? So they're national holidays. Once the reason is given and the reason no longer applies, halacha tells you it's no longer applicable. So another example would be I don't want to get a haircut and have my neck shaved by a person who's an idolater. What is it defined as an idolater? The person who might possibly cut your neck. Right. So I'll tell you what, while I'm in the United States, I'll go to any barber there is. In Pakistan, I won't have anybody shave me.
Okay. All right.
I don't know if you get that little
nuance. I mean, I get that the Rambam was the only one to ever say that Islam was an idolatry. I mean, he was a dat yachid in this area, because I view Muslims as idolaters. I actually view Messianics as not idolaters.
I do.
Okay, no, that's fine. I mean, we could discuss that also, by the way. But I mean, not just that. Like, you're not supposed to sell.
I'll tell you something else about Messianics. I'm not so worried about them. A lot of people are worried about them because they work for us.
All right. I mean, I view them as part of us.
No, I don't. They're not at all part of us. They're actually a very disgusting group of people that tried to convince Jews to go to the Christian route with an exotic mix or something or another. That's not right. What is right? Hold on. That's why I told you they work for us. Why did I say they work for us? Because the truth is they've been working all over Latin America and all over the United States and other places, trying to bring people to Messianism, and X amount, I don't know what the X is, but X amount of those people end up gravitating towards Judaism.
Okay, hold on. Now, would you say that you're more disgusted with Kabbalah and specifically Lurianic Kabbalah and its practices than what's taught in the 27 books of the New Testament?
So I'm equally.
So would you say that what's taught in Lurianic Kabbalah is more dangerous than what could be found in the 27 books of the New Testament?
So okay, again, so let's go piece by piece. Now we're talking. It's what is the worm eating the apple, or is a gnat, a fruit fly eating the orange? It's two different things totally. So
no, correct. One is for sure.
Hold on,
one makes the other one look like a Boy Scout. Yeah.
Asher, watch just a second. Hold on. Let me get the thought out, all right? Because I really got to go, and I wanted to at least spend a couple minutes with you because we ended up in a debate, not a debate, of a conversation anyway.
Sure.
So, but by the way, I agree with you. So, yes, internally to Judaism, Kabbalah, in its form as Lurianic Kabbalah and overall Lurianic understanding of the Zohar and all of its elements, including Hasidus, are probably more damaging to Judaism internally than anything else. Now, that doesn't negate a separate issue, which is called Messianism, which was created completely by churches who wanted to grab like Amalek. They wanted to grab the Jews that were weak, they were stragglers, they were at the back of the line, who didn't know their religion, and bring them towards a Christian religion. They were so willing to do it that they're willing to put on peyot and beards.
No, I get it. Yeah, but just let me respond. Okay, so then I acknowledge that Jews for Jesus, Jews who have no interest in keeping Torah and just winning Jews over to some Protestant non-Torah based form of Christianity, is corrosive. However, we're talking about people who were once Christians who viewed Jesus from a Torah lens. They put themselves as a follower of Jesus and the early Nazarenes. If you acknowledge that Lurianic Kabbalah and Hasidut is a lot more corrosive, why don't you criticize them as loudly as you just criticize Christians now, or Messianics now?
But then you don't understand. I wasn't speaking originally about the Chabad or about Hasidut or about all of the different various sects. I mentioned Messianics because you mentioned Messianics right before I mentioned Messianics.
No, I know, but I'm pretty sure that you don't speak so blatantly or so proudly.
So obviously, Asher, you have no idea how vocal I am against.
Okay. All right, so that okay.
Against Chabad and all of Hasidut.
Okay, so no problem. Okay, so then I respect that.
And by the way, but that doesn't mean I'm not just as vocal against a bunch of people who want to practice Judaism and it doesn't belong to them, and they want to mix it with a religion that doesn't belong to them.
Okay, no problem. All right, so you're consistent, but I think that you should actually say what you just said on the show, that you view Kabbalistic Judaism more problematic than Messianic Judaism. But
no, I didn't say that. Again, I'll repeat for you again. I'll say to you again what I said. Inside of Judaism, of the practice of Judaism, Kabbalistic, Hasidus, etc., is probably is problematic inside of Judaism. And Messianic, the Messianics are problematic outside of Judaism.
No, we're talking about Messianics inside Judaism. I'm not talking about Jews for Jesus.
They're not inside of Judaism. They have nothing to do with Judaism.
There's a big movement nowadays of Messianics who live completely Torah existence, but happen to be.
But they're not part of. It doesn't matter. They're not part of Judaism.
Okay, yeah, but you would have no issue praying in a Kabbalistic synagogue, but you would have no issue praying in a Messianic synagogue.
And again, you miss. Again, I don't know if you're thinking about what you would do. I'm telling you what I would do. I do not pray in a Chabad synagogue.
No, not Chabad. 99% of synagogues nowadays endorse Lurianic Kabbalah.
Let me finish. And I don't pray inside of a Syrian synagogue either.
Well, that's because they don't accept converts. But the majority of synagogues on this planet believe that the Arizal, they call them the Arizal Kadosh. So then you don't pray in any synagogue then.
Again, so that's why specifically the Spanish Portuguese took out every mention, or as much as they could practically, in their Siddur and all of their teachings of anything that had to do with a Kabbalistic or Lurianic thought. For example, in the Siddur of the Solapul, the only thing that I really gotta go. It's like 8:49. But anyways, the only thing that's left is on a bechuach. Everything else is gone.
Yeah, but Spanish Portuguese Judaism is a drop in the bucket compared to regular Jews, right? I mean, it's a
Yes, so-
smallest segment, like.
So let me tell you. So why don't you take that drop and amplify it and make it into?
I do. You know, however, like you said that you would pray in a synagogue that believes in Lurianic Kabbalah, but not a Messianic synagogue.
No. Again, you're not that good of a lawyer. I didn't say that.
If you don't pray in any synagogue, then all synagogues, 99.8% of synagogues believe in Kabbalah.
When I walk into a synagogue, my weight is not whether or not there's going to be a discussion of Lurianic Kabbalah or not. If there's an obvious tendency towards Lurianic Kabbalah and things based on Kabbalah, because we have a basic halacha. Never does Kabbalah tell us what to do in the Nusach or in halacha.
That's not true. I mean, do you put on tefillin to the Chol Hamoed?
Obviously not.
Why? Because only Kabbalah tells you not to put it.
No, actually, that's not true. That is wrong totally. The reason we don't put it on is because it's mo'ed. And tefillin are ed. So we don't put them on because it's ed.
Ot. You mean an ot?
Mo'ed.
An ot. It says that tefillin are the ot, you know, and the Tag itself is an ot, and that's brought down by the Arizal.
No, it was previous.
In the Gemara does it say not to put in tefillin during Chol Hamoed?
And it doesn't say two.
There's a standard just to put on tefillin stam. Now, why would you need somebody to tell you not to put it on if the standard was to put it on? There's a lot of that's based.
Because it's specific. Didn't you just say that about Rambam? I'm sorry. Didn't you just say that about Rambam?
What?
That there's a standard that would apply, and there's also a not apply. So isn't that the same thing you just said about Rambam?
No, I said the Rambam. Like if he says something 9 out of 10 times that it appears in the Mishnah.
And if he doesn't say it, it's what?
It's disposable.
So if the Gemara doesn't say specifically about Chol Hamoed, it doesn't say that it's disposable or not. It's really up to whatever the custom of the people was. But by the way, I'll mention to you that it's further back than that, because in the writings of the Geonim, it's also present that nobody puts on tefillin.
It became a practice. We're talking about halacha that came from Kabbalah. Halacha. That means in most shows nowadays, they'll yell at you like if you leave your tefillin on.
I see you on a couple of times a week. I'll come back to you next week after Shabbat. We'll discuss the whole thing. I gotta go.
No problem. Okay,
I gotta go because I really gotta answer this older gentleman. So I'll talk to you then.
No problem. Thank you for coming up.
Bye.